Okay, so what I hope to do here is explain this basic system. It's very easy and it's very expensive, but it's a way that you can use bash functions to encode information across cryptocurrencies. And then anybody that has access to this function could could sort of work backwards and figure things out. So I'm going to start here with this, and I call this proof of lunch. Now, in cryptocurrency, there's this idea called proof of work, and that's what the miners spend so much energy doing. They're actually playing a game with each other, and the winners of the game get to write the next block into the chain, and this provides a randomness into the system where it's very hard for any one person to ever take control of this. And that's very important to the foundation of cryptocurrency. So this is sort of sits around that world. Sometimes this is called level two. This is the next sort of thing. But anyway, so what I did here, I was at lunch, and it's interesting. There's a group that meets here to discuss blockchain in the Metroplex area to discuss cryptocurrencies, and their meetup is actually called Proof of Lunch as well. But so this is things from so what this the purpose of this is to describe who I am and what I was doing and thinking on this particular day and what day it was, and then tie that into the cryptocurrency. And I haven't done it yet. I'm going to demonstrate. And this is really the first time I did this. I do this where I take notes in different colors. Uh, so, of course, this is what I had for lunch, right? Or maybe I'm lying about this, right? Maybe I stole this from somebody named John Andrew Rigler. Uh, but he seems to have had lunch in Dallas, Texas on this date, and of course he is me. Now, to help prove this, this is the Google screen capture. I don't think I have it up, but so on Google, each day it's devoted to a certain thing, and so the red part is I simply wrote down what I read off Google. This is complete nonsense that I made up about that anybody that knows me, I tell this story about fox hunting with dogs all the time. It's just a little joke. So I wrote the little joke. This is just, I don't know what I was, kind of doodling, right? I did things like I wrote this up here. And then, now you see these codes down here, and I'll explain those in a minute. Then later on, what I did was I typed this in to the shell, and this will work on any shell. So you can immediately see how this text is that this thing that I did, right? Even with the silly little story here, all you know suddenly is now uh, in a digital format. And what I do is I create a function here. It doesn't have to have these funny names. I'm not even sure what that is. For me, I hold down the Alt key and hit 3, and that looks like an E, which is sort of close to there. So it's this very, I don't know, personal thing that I do, I guess. And so here's an example of another one of these, and this was called D. And so I can show you what D is, I believe, because I have it. Let's see. I have all these arcane functions that I use. So this is D. D happened to have been loaded into my shell register. And of course, you can keep going back, and it makes reference to C. And it's this Wakian mythos is what it is. So I say Wakian tax exemption. These are all references to Finnegan's Wake. Um, So that's and I think that there's an A, B, and a C, and I tweeted all these out too. I could these are so small that you can tweet them. See, they're if you count the words, it's less than 240 characters. So anyway, so this now becomes a so it may seem this is I call this a mundane secret, right? It's to help establish my identity, and so uh, and one thing I did here, if you notice, this seems like it's a typo because here it says trusty. It's trusty dog Grimsby, but I changed it. And the reason why I changed it is because whenever you change anything, the number uh, that you arrive at with the sum. Let's see, it's this thing. Get that in screen. That so this number that you arrive at changes too. And what I did was by taking that off, you still first of all, this is just a silly story, right? So within the silly story, I fermented the word trusty, and it became rusty. And again, this is another reference to Finnegan's Wake. This is, I studied this novel for years, and this is sort of the strange ramblings of the epic ramblings of Joyce in his final years. It's a brilliant novel. Anyway, by changing that from trusty to rusty, I got it to become a 4-letter result here in the sum, and so it just happened to be. So that is sort of significant, right? That's because now it's 4 instead of 5, and that's again, this helps. If you can understand this, then you're well on the way to understanding some really fundamental tricks about how proof of work it happens, because it has to do with this. I call this a nonce. If you can get it down to like 2, at some point I got it down to 2, and that's really special. But you have to sort of work to do that. Normally with something like this, you're going to get 5, and of course if you do this checksum, you're going to get this really big number, and that's much more difficult to deal with. But within the system, you're not going to. I mean, if it's just a couple people working together, it's like 5 people working together. You're never going to get a collision on whatever 5931 means. If you do, that's okay. It's okay because it's not going to make sense. You're not going to get it's going to be something very different. Anyway, so so now in this directory, this is my identity, one of my identities with Bitcoin Cash, BCH, which is it was spun off of Bitcoin, and it's a little bit easier to deal with. By no means am I saying that you should invest in any of this. Don't invest in this necessarily. You can do all this. You can load $20 into Coinbase and have a heyday doing this. You don't need to invest a large amount of money. But if we look at what the transaction for this, so what we see this 5931 here. Okay, so this is a file. This is a file that I keep hold of. Now some of these are so simple I can recreate them from memory, but this happens to be a file, and so this little function here helps explain it. Now what I do is come over here into kind of a different world. Okay, oops. this is this is this is my address. See, so there's two ways to view the address. Um, this is the new way for Bitcoin Cash, and there's an old way. The old way sometimes can get confused with other currencies, so that's why they came up with the new way. They're trying to make them sort of different from each other. But and you see, I've done this thing already. There's some 64676 is a pretty succinct explanation of this technology. And then 39692 and 29692 is a special secret that ties this address to it's sort of like a story, and it starts here, and again it's Joycean, right? So if you really care about what 29692 or 39692 is, well, then you'd have to join my church or something like that. But or so investors, if you did this and had investors that you wanted to send money to this Bitcoin Cash address, which they could immediately send millions of dollars if they wanted to, then they would want to know what these mean, right? Because I've now disclosed that this and this have a meaning. This is actually simply I forgot the miner's fee, so that's so it's really this 39692. But anyway, I'm about to create another one of these. So and we use this address, I believe. Which again, it's a little confusing. So, but you know, this is a routine that anybody that's pretty savvy can figure out, and then you sort of become like a monk of this thing, I guess. Anyway, so here's our number, 15931, which includes the miner fee. So that should be taken off. So 15931. Now to do this, also I have two separate accounts. I have this Polynex account where if you really get into trading Bitcoin, which again I would advise against investing a large amount of money in this, you could use this service Polynex, and the other is Coinbase, I believe. It's called Coinbase. Anyway, so this is going from Polynex to Coinbase, but really it doesn't matter. It's all in Bitcoin world. So I'm going to withdraw, and now I have to check my email. So I'll go do that, and then the transaction should go through. So, and I'll send you the link so that you can see it should have gone through. All right, I think that's it. I hope that explains it. There's a lot of potential here, and so let's leave it at that. Thank you so much.